Hey everyone, I know I'm here a minute early. I was just going to let it run to make sure everybody has the opportunity and the heads up from Facebook to join live. So, hello there. Let me do what I love to do. That's pull you guys up on my phone so I can see the comments, just to make sure that I can know who I'm speaking with. All right, let me go ahead and make sure I find you. Here I am. All right, so say hello when you come in. Say hello, hello. So this month we are reviewing a blend from Young Living that you guys voted. Every single month I do put a poll up here in this group for those of you who are new. I'm just going to give a little introduction, and I put a bunch of different examples of blends that I get contacted about in the poll, and you guys have the opportunity to vote on those and add your own as well. So we've been through about a dozen different blends that you guys have voted on that you want to learn more about. So I go over the safety, I go over the efficacy, I go over usage instructions and all of that in these individual blends that you guys have interest in. And you can find this essential oil blend safety resource inside of our library along with the other resources available. And for those of you who have never met me before, welcome to our group. My name is Leah Jacobson. I am a certified clinical aromatherapist. I have been learning and teaching about essential oils for over a decade now, and I am sharing the different things that I've learned with all of you. So again, we do have a resource library where you can access different things depending on what your interest is as far as investment of time into learning about essential oils and making sure that you are using them safely for yourself or maybe your family. I know most of you in here are moms with kids and have pets as well. So I just want to make sure that all of those bases are covered for you and that you have the resources, because when I started out, there were only a couple of resources that were extremely high level, very expensive, and so my initial goal when I first started was just to share what I've learned with everyday regular people that can't afford certification at $3+ grand. The scholars program that I went through, I think it now goes for about $7,000. And so yeah, there's just a lot of time investment in all of these resources, and because essential oils are readily available, it's really such a shame that the information is not as readily available until you find this group, right? And all of the resources that we have for you. All right, so let's jump in, and I'm going to share my screen with you here. Let me just close a few screens. I have like a million things going here. And then I can shut these off as well. But again, a reminder, we are going to be reviewing Sniffle Ease by Young Living. All right, let me go ahead and flip this around for you. This is our library, and here's where you can access the latest resource, Pocket Aromatherapist, which I am super excited about, as well as the Essential Oil Blend Safety Files, which is exactly what we are going to be talking about today, and accessing this information inside of here. Now, inside of the Blend Safety Files, if you go up here to the top, you can access our new Airtable. As if you haven't noticed, I really like using Airtable for storing a lot of information to do with essential oils, because there is a lot. And here is where you can find this particular blend in here. Now, I'm just going to pop it open in my expanded view so that it's easier for you guys, especially on mobile, to go ahead and see, but that's where you can find this review in case you want to know. All right, yes, I'm already live. Thank you for my notification. All right, Sniffle Ease is a blend by Young Living. It is categorized, according to me, under respiratory issues. According to them, it helps helps ease feelings of discomfort and supports the feeling of normal, clear breathing. Let me go ahead and put my camera on so you guys can see me. I know some of you, I was able to find that little button, are like, where did you go? All right, so If you've noticed their wording here, and this is very common for not only this brand, but most other brands, is they are very careful to make sure that they are wording this so that people are not getting a diagnosis, that they are not trying to heal, prevent a disease. And so it seems slightly vague in the wording, but it's because they're trying to make sure that the FDA, if the FDA were to look at the words that they're using, to make sure that they are following under those guidelines. Now, just as an aside, and I'm sure to mention this as often as possible, the FDA does not approve or disapprove brands, but they do take special notice of the information on the label to make sure that you are not trying to treat, cure, or prevent a disease with your wording. And then also, in addition to that, because this comes up a lot with ingesting, if the company has the intention of having you ingest their product, the label must reflect that. It doesn't mean it's safe. It doesn't mean you aren't going to have potential side effects or anything. It's just the labeling and the wording, all right? And this could be a whole live topic, but I just wanted to bring attention to that. So basically what they're trying to tell you here is it's supposed to help with runny nose when you're sick and you have a cold. All right. So I will come back to this overall score. Sometimes I like to give spoiler alerts and other times I like to wait. I'm going to wait in this sense. Okay. Here's the link where everyone can access the same information that I have. So when I say that I take this from their website, you can go right over here to the link and you can find that out for yourself, along with the date last accessed, because sometimes the information is updated, including the ingredients. Now, the efficacy score, I feel like this is a little bit out of order, but because we have not actually looked at the individual essential oils yet, and it might be because I actually hid that. So let me actually go back to the hid. Yeah, I accidentally hid those. Yeah, here we go. I accidentally hid that field. All right, sorry, I'm all zoomed in and now I don't know exactly where I'm trying to zoom out so I can get back to where I was. Here we go. All right, I'm like, okay, something is missing here. All right, so the copied list of essential oils from their website. These are all of the essential oils that they have listed as included in this blend. You can see this is a pre-diluted blend. This is fractionated coconut oil, and that's what they've pre-diluted this blend as. And while this is already diluted for you, there's no way of knowing exactly how much this is diluted. So, I mean, that again can be a whole other conversation, and we will talk about that a little bit more under usage. But these are all the different essential oils that they have included, and this is as much information as we have on them. There aren't any chemotypes listed. Again, we'll mention that in a moment as well. So that is a copy and paste from their website. So according to this list of essential oils, I'm looking at the different ones that they've included, and I'm like, okay, let's not talk about safety. We will talk about that later. Let's not talk about the fact that if you are trying to get rid of sniffles, like, that's our body's way of expelling germs. So, you know, there is some sort of common sense where if your nose is running, there's a reason why. There's either some sort of allergen in the air, you have a cold and it's your body's way of draining germs. So like, that's a whole other subject as well. Everybody has different beliefs on that, but it is your body's way of getting rid of germs, and that is why kids can have runny noses, adults can have runny noses, right? So that aside, the efficacy score simply reflects how well are these essential oils at the intended purpose. So I do have suggestions for allergies, and when you clear up allergies, there are certain essential oils that you can use to help clear up that situation, which will in effect prevent the snot from coming out of your nose because you are no longer having trouble with allergies, right? So that's a good example of that. So that is the closest thing that I can compare this to right now. There aren't essential oils that are going to simply stop a runny nose, but there are essential oils that can help with allergens and with killing germs and which could actually promote more mucus depending on the situation, right? So that being said, the efficacy score, I'm giving a 2 out of 5 stars because of the essential oils chosen. So if I were to select certain essential oils for that purpose, again, there's a lot of gray area there for, do we even want to mess with that? And if so, how far are essential oils going to even help? These are not all the essential oils that I would choose to use. In fact, some of these can actually promote runny noses. It can promote irritation and all of that. So I am giving it a 2 out of 5 stars for that. A couple of them may be helpful for easing nasal irritation if that's part of this factor and not simply the fact that our body's trying to kill the germs and expel it through the snot, right? All right, there are a couple of usage instructions that are found on that page as well. There are lots of usage instructions when it comes to essential oils all over the internet, but these are exactly from the company on their page and these aren't necessarily from reps. So you will have different consultants and representatives of different companies who will come up with different ways to use essential oils and different ways to use blends, and they may have other ideas and suggestions, but this is from the company page. So the first suggestion that they have listed is to apply 2 to 4 drops directly to the chest or to the throat to promote a soothing experience. Soothing experience, sorry, I get a little sidetracked on this vague terminology, but I understand why they're doing it. Again, we already went through that, right? Why they're choosing different words. But first of all, topical is not going to be as effective as inhalation for this type of issue, all right? Applying 2 to 4 drops without dilution is not recommended. Now, this is a pre-diluted product, so there is that, but we don't know how much it's diluted. There could be 2 drops of fractionated coconut oil in the entire bottle. It could be 50% fractionated coconut oil. It could be 99% fractionated coconut oil. We don't know how much. And because we don't know, we can't assume that it's safe. We have to assume that it may not be safe. So applying 2 to 4 drops to the chest may be close enough to actually impact the sniffles. It may not be. So it's really a big fat question mark as to how unsafe that could possibly be. Inhalation is going to be the most effective way to help with a situation like this. So if we skip to the second recommended way to use this, they recommend to diffuse up to an hour 3 times a day. So a lot of people, trust me, people don't read, okay? Let's just say people don't read. As somebody who's published a lot of articles and information and pages, and people don't read all of the words. So they may read this as diffuse for an hour, and a full hour of diffusing, especially in a closed room, especially in a room that doesn't have a lot of airflow, is going to be too much and could actually promote more drainage from the nose. So that is most likely going to be too long unless you have a room where you have a lot of airflow. There may be windows open, doors open, and all of that. It's too difficult to assume and say exactly how everybody's house is set up and where they're running their diffuser, right? So preferably when you diffuse, you want to diffuse for 10 minutes on and then 20 minutes off. You want to give your body that rest in between. Continuous diffusing can promote nausea, headaches, runny noses, especially if they're already running because of that potential irritation from too much stuff being put into the air. 3 times a day could be totally fine, but it's the full hour of running without being sure what kind of diffuser. There are diffusers where you screw the entire bottle in and diffuse the bottle directly, and that will input a ton of drops into the air, and that is simply not safe. All right, so there's a lot of room for somebody to inadvertently cause more problems, more harm than good. Additionally, this goes on to recommend for children ages 2 to 12. and we're going to get into what ages this blend is safe for in a moment. It's definitely not safe for ages 2 to 12. It may be safe for ages 10 and above, but if this blend is accurately portrayed, it's actually not going to be safe for anyone. We'll get to that in a second. And dilution is not required except for the most sensitive skin, they're saying. And that is, unfortunately, it opens up a lot of people for damage that think, oh, my skin isn't sensitive, I can just apply this directly. And the fact is, essential oils are highly concentrated. So because essential oils are highly concentrated, even if you don't have sensitive skin, if you just have skin, it could potentially cause some problems because of the super high concentration of essential oils. All right, so that's my opinion on those two recommendations. If you've seen other recommendations and you want to get some feedback on that, go ahead and leave them in the chat and let me know, and I'd be happy to give feedback on that. All right, so let's take a look at the safety of the essential oils. Now, this is the different essential oils that they have listed above, converted into colors so that it's easy for me and hopefully you to understand quickly the general safety for the different essential oils. So there are a couple of essential oils that they listed in the blend that I don't have in my database, and that would be Eucalyptus bicosta. I did do a quick Google search and found that that's more of a subspecies. The bicosta is more of a subspecies and not the actual essential oil. It's probably globulus. But regardless, this is a type of eucalyptus. So without having the safety, you could assume it's for ages 10 plus. You could assume that it has a decent amount of cineol to be flagged for 10 plus, but it may not be the case depending on the chemotype. Now, we don't know the chemotype, we just know the subspecies. It could actually contain different constituents, which might make it safe for all. So we can, if you want to assume that this particular essential oil is safe for all, we can go ahead and do that. And then there is another essential oil here. All right, and this one I don't have either. So you will find different companies grabbing different essential oils that are more obscure, that are more rare. They're not necessarily prized. They may be like a shrub on the side of the road. Like, we don't know. We don't know what the safety is and the history is for these. Again, I did a quick Google search. There is random information, nothing that I could find that was compelling enough for me to add the information here. So I'm just chalking these up to, there's a couple essential oils in here that I don't know anything about right now, but let's just pretend those weren't in the blend and proceed, okay? I am totally fine with assuming these are not in the blend at all, even though they're listed as in the blend, all right? So we can look at the safety here. Well, I guess we are in the safety section here. All right, so looking at these colors, the bright purple indicates that the safety is safe for everyone to inhale, safe for everyone to apply topically, and by everyone, it means there's no age restrictions. You always want to make sure that you are not exposing children under the age of 6 months old to essential oils. You want to be careful not to apply essential oils to children under the age of 2 or to elderly. You know, there's of course specifics that you want to pay attention to, but in general, they're going to be safe for most people, right? Now, peppermint is the only essential oil that has an age limit of 6 plus. And then we have eucalyptus, specifically the chemotype version of eucalyptus, which is the most common. Eucalyptus is generally going to be high in 1,8 cineol. It's referred to as a cineol chemotype, and that is reflected in the green color here as being safe for ages 10 and above. And there could be other safety issues as well, but age-wise, it's 10 plus. And then you have the gray over here. Now, essential oils that are reflected in this gray background means that you probably want to avoid it. There's probably either a low topical max, there could be a neurotoxicity issue, there could be some issue where it's like, you're probably better off not using this. Like, if you absolutely must use it, make sure that you look at the specific essential oil safety for that. Otherwise, you know, it's a little bit sketchy to use. And then you have the essential oils reflected in the black background here, which means do not use. Like, there's not going to be a good reason to use these. Pick one of the other hundreds of essential oils instead. Avoid using these particular essential oils. Now, I do want to point out, and I'm going to actually scroll up to show you this, that the camphor that is listed in this blend does not have any specifics, okay? It simply says Cinnamomum camphora. There is nothing here reflecting which camphor that it is, so all three have been added. So we definitely could assume that it's the safe one. It may be the brown camphor, maybe the yellow camphor, maybe the white camphor. Let's just assume it's a safe one. So we can totally assume that these two essential oils that we know nothing about are totally safe, and we can assume it's the safe camphor. I am totally on board with that. But then we're left with myrtle. So at the very minimum, we have essential oils not safe for kids under the age of 10, but then we have myrtle that's not safe for anyone to use. And again, looking at the botanical name, this is the myrtle that's not safe. There are a couple of other myrtles that have specific chemotypes that are reflective of myrtles that can be safe to use, and they actually have different botanical names. This particular myrtle I do not recommend, has a lot of safety issues, which we will look at here in a minute. All right, so that is just some information on the safety for the essential oils in this particular blend. And just to make sure that I'm clear, if there's one essential oil in the blend that's not safe for anybody, the blend is not safe for anybody. If you have some poison in a meal and you eat it, you could die, right? So let's just be clear on the safety for this. We can't be like, oh, well, if there's just one essential oil in here that's not safe for everybody. Just don't use the blend. It's not difficult to select a couple of single essential oils. It's not difficult to put your own blend together, maybe, you know, with a little help and education. Absolutely. You know, we have resources to help you do that. But we do not have to purchase pre-made blends, especially when we know the safety might be questionable. All right. So this color legend, I've already explained to you what the different essential oil colors mean. And then I grouped the safety according to age. So ages safe to inhale, we have a mix as I previously went over. Some of these are safe for everyone to inhale. Some of them are 6+, 10+, and some of them are not recommended to use at all. Same with the topical use. Some of these essential oils are not safe for pregnancy or breastfeeding. And then we have a lot of them that are not safe around your dog. So if you are diffusing this blend for your child and your dog is in the room, it actually can affect them as well. So just so that you know, this is not safe for dogs either. Now, looking at the grouping of the topical maxes. So this is all of the essential oils that were selected that we just talked about. All of the topical maxes reflected for those. So some of these don't have a topical max. Some of them have a topical max as low as 0.25%. All right. So it's very important that when we understand essential oils have different safety parameters, that when we are using them topically on our skin, and some of them do have a topical max and we don't know how much is in the blend, we don't know how much it's pre-diluted, we need to really use caution and most likely avoid using this on the skin because we don't know if this is safely diluted. All right, some of these topical maxes are reflected in essential oils that may not actually be in the blend, like those couple of camphors that we talked about. But we do have myrtle. I think the myrtle is a 1.9. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it would be because it's the one listed after the eucalyptus, which has the 20%. So the myrtle is the one that we know is in the blend. We know it is the one that's not safe, and that does have the 1.9% topical max. The 5.4, that's for the peppermint. Again, that's the eucalyptus, and these are probably, let's see if I can see really quickly here, the camphors. Yeah, so it would be the whole leaf camphor and the camphor yellow. So while the whole leaf camphor is safe for all ages, it does have that topical max. So I mean, I'm sure you guys are not surprised to hear that the safety score is 1 out of 5 stars. It should be a 0, but it's a 1 out of 5 stars. So just to recap, it does contain a couple of essential oils that we don't know anything about, but let's just pretend they're totally fine. There's still other essential oils that are known not to be safe for everyone. At least the myrtle, maybe even the camphor. We don't know, but at least the myrtle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down through the potential interactions and see if we find any from all of the essential oils here. So there is one essential oil in this blend that does have an interaction with diabetes medication if you are using this blend internally. So hopefully you aren't using this blend internally, but there would be an interaction if you are also on diabetes medication. There are interactions if you use this blend internally, if you are using drugs metabolized by CYP2E1, and then there's an essential oil that has contraindication with GERD if you are using this blend internally, and that would be the peppermint, as well as choleostasis. Again, hopefully you're not using this blend internally, right? And then there is a contraindication no matter how you use this blend. So the contraindications all means if you are inhaling, using topically, or ingesting. There's a contraindication if you have G6PD deficiency, if you have cardiac fibrillation. These are actually reflected by the peppermint essential oil that does have those contraindications. Then we have epilepsy contraindication. Again, this is inhalation, topical use, and ingesting. So no matter how you are exposed to the blend. Then we have 3 essential oils which are carcinogenic. It would be the brown camphor, the yellow camphor, and the myrtle. And then we have a couple that are have some toxicity levels here as well. All right, so that is the rundown for this blend. I'm going to go ahead and switch to this view. If you have, okay, I don't need my face on there twice. Once is enough. If you have any questions for me about this blend, we just reviewed Sniffle Ease by Young Living. This information is inside of BOSS, which is the Blends Overview Safety System, which is a part of the Essential Oil Blend Safety files inside of the library. Of course, you can reference the essential oil safety files. There's over 240 different essential oils listed in that resource. So if you want to individually look up the safety of essential oils, you can do that. And then there's 120 different essential oils as well as benefits inside of the New Pocket Aromatherapist as well. So there's several different resources for you so that you can be sure that you are using essential oils safely and you understand exactly what you are using. All right, so if there's any questions, I'm not actually seeing any at the moment about this blend. Most of you are going to catch this on the replay. Now, I will be uploading this to YouTube as always, and that will remain for the next couple of weeks, and then it will be inside of our club. So if you're interested, if you are already inside of the club and this is the first time you heard about me doing blend reviews, you can actually access all of the previous blend reviews that I've done inside of the club as well. All right, so if there's any questions, I'm not seeing any, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Hopefully you learned something if you're watching the replay, and if you have questions or comments, go ahead and drop those in the comments below as well. This will be on YouTube for the next few weeks, and then it will come down and go inside of the vault, inside of our club. All right, hope you all have a great day, and I hope you learned something. See ya.